What is up, guys? Sonduren Canadian Rider here. It's a beautiful Sunday, and today I'm going to be showing you how to properly clean your engine bay. You typically want to do this, number one, before you start washing any other part of the car. So I haven't touched anything of the car yet, and my plan is to actually wash it today. But the engine bay is the first thing that you're gonna tackle because it's the most intricate. You're gonna have to do some extra steps to potentially protect the alternator and some other things in the engine. So I'm gonna show you some products that I'm gonna be using and the steps that you need to take to properly make sure that you're cleaning the engine bay without causing any damage. I know when I was first washing engines, I was a little bit scared. You know, is the water gonna go on important things and is that gonna screw me up? Well, you know, rest assured that if you do these steps, you're not gonna have to be worried about. The biggest thing that you'll need to look for, and in this case here, it's covered by plastics, but in a lot of older cars, you're gonna wanna look for the alternator. That's actually what's recharging the electricity or recharging your battery as the car is running and maintaining your battery. So you wanna look for that here. And in my case, for the R8, it is covered up and I don't need to worry about that. But if you have any exposed wires, if you have any exposed connectors, anything else that's broken, etc., put some aluminum foil over it to protect it against the water. It's not like we're gonna be spraying down, and you'll see that in a bit, like heavily into the engine, but we wanna make sure that we cover anything, you know, that's open and exposed in the engine. So I'm gonna take a quick look. I know there isn't anything exposed in this R8 engine, but I'll take one last peek here, and you guys should be doing this too. Look around, make sure that there isn't anything crazy out there that's exposed. But rest assured, whatever we're doing here, it's not like we're gonna be putting high pressure water everywhere where it's gonna get in every nook and cranny. So you don't need to worry about that. So we're gonna start off with a rinse. The biggest thing that you're gonna wanna do is make sure that you rinse the entire engine bay with water to get most of the gunk and grime off of it right away. So that's what we're gonna do here. I've gone ahead and I've showed you in my previous video, I have this hose. This is like one of those stretchable hoses. All you have to do is turn on the tap and it expands. This makes my life so much easier when you're washing your car and anything. I'll make sure I put this in the description box and all the products that I'm gonna be using today in the description box down below. So if you have any questions, leave them in the comment box, I'll help you out, but everything will be linked in the description box down below. So we're gonna get started. I'm gonna turn on the water and we're simply gonna rinse everything in here. And notice when I start rinsing, I'm not, you know, jamming the water in here. I'm being very gentle with it. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm just gonna open it up. And again, low, this is not a high pressure wash. This is simply coming out of my hose. And I'm just rinsing the entire engine bay. I'm not worried to get the rest of the car wet. I'm gonna be washing the rest of the car, but just a nice soaking here, okay? And we're gonna be cleaning all these nooks and crannies in a bit. So we're giving everything a nice rinsing. Again, I'm not pointed directly at any connectors. It's a very far away rinse. What you're gonna then be looking to do is grab a cleaner. So there are lots of engine bay cleaners, all-purpose cleaners out in the market. Honestly, I recommend a strong all-purpose cleaner. You can get an engine one if you'd like. The one I'm using today is Opticoat's Power Clean. You can use Spray 9, you can use engine bay cleaners, what have you. The important thing is you get the dilution right. Make sure you dilute it properly because you don't want to potentially damage any plastics around in the car. So what I'm gonna do is I have this in a spray bottle now. So I'm gonna clean this top area first, and then I'm gonna clean the engine bay. So with this, there's an assortment of different tools that I'm gonna be using to make my job super easy. So I have a boar's hair brush, which will get on the surfaces of everything I wanna clean. I have one of my detail buddy brushes, and this is something I can get in the little crevices. And then a bigger, softer paintbrush. I know you're probably thinking, why paintbrush? I actually got this paintbrush and it's super soft, so in this case I'm using it, and it's really good for getting in the crevices and everything. But these brushes are the tools that's gonna make this so easy to do, because if you have the right tools to do these things, it just makes your life so much easier. So I recommend making sure you get these brushes, and then we have an all-purpose cleaner. So what I'm gonna do with the all-purpose cleaner, I'm simply going to lightly spray on the areas that I'm gonna end up cleaning. And again, you don't need too much of this stuff. This stuff is pretty strong. There you go. Give it a light spray, and you're gonna have that sit there for maybe, and it depends on the different cleaners that you're using. I'm gonna let this sit on for about 2 minutes. We're in a shaded environment, that's also important, and it's cool. So it's nothing here that can potentially, you know, chemically react in a bad way that'll cause any damage to these surfaces. I'm gonna be using the boar's hair brush, the surface one, and I'm gonna start cleaning off the surface. I'm not gonna worry about the nook and crannies yet. I'm just gonna get the big pieces of the surface here, and I'm just gonna simply do this. And if you can't get into something, don't worry about it. You're gonna go over it with the detail brush. So I kind of went round one there with the big boar's hair brush. Now I'm gonna take the detail brush, and some of the chemical may have started dripping off. So in the areas, I'll probably just do a little spray there. That's it. And I'll start going ahead with the little detail brush. And now I'm getting into all these little nook and crannies here, giving it a good clean. Again, you're really just wanting to agitate and let the chemical do the majority of the work here. So you're just agitating, getting in all those crannies, those nooks, using a soft brush, and anywhere that you didn't get. And take your time when you're doing this. And the other important thing that I should mention is that you've given yourself a lot of working time with the chemical because you've already pre-soaked the surface and because you're not working in a hot environment. Your engine probably doesn't have glass, so this isn't really that much of a concern, but if it does, you can just go ahead and do this. And then you're gonna give it one final rinse. I will make sure that I go ahead and wipe down the glass on the inside to stop any water spotting, but first now, we need to get into the actual engine bay. I'm gonna take the same cleaner that I just used up here, and I'm gonna liberally spray down this engine bay area. So that's what I'm gonna do right now. So I'm just gonna go ahead, I'm spraying down all the surfaces, making sure I get into the nooks and crannies here with this all-purpose cleaner. And by the way, try to, if you can, avoid the painted surfaces on your car. So just making sure that you're spraying down what you need to spray. Get into those little spots everywhere that may need a cleaning or degreasing. And realistically speaking, this engine bay, it's dirty in my perspective, but I'm sure a lot of you will have much dirtier engine bays potentially. I know in my Lexus, it's atrocious. So you'll probably want to be very liberal spraying your all-purpose cleaner solution or your engine bay solution in the engine bay. So I just gave it a nice spray down. And the other thing to be aware is that since the surface area was already wet, it is diluting the chemical. And this is, a strong chemical even at diluted ratio. So that's why I'm making sure I give it a nice liberal spray down to cover all the surfaces. Now, while this is happening, you're gonna wait 1 to 2 minutes, and we're gonna start with the same process again. We're gonna take the boar's hair brush, we're gonna do all the flat major surfaces, then we're gonna go ahead with the smaller brushes and get into the crevices. We wanna make sure that this isn't drying out. So, it's seeping in there, the chemicals are working. We wanna make sure we're always working with a liquid or wet surface. So if you need to just spray it down just a little bit just to get everything wet again, make sure you do that, especially in a high humidity climate. Now what I want to do is make sure I give everything a full rinse, including the top here, because there's potentially splashback that came up to the top. So I'm going to give everything a nice full rinse, get everything off it, and then we're going to do a little inspection to find out, is there anything left that we missed? So we've completely rinsed now the entire engine bay. The top is clean, the bottom is clean. We're going to be drying it. I'm using this, it's a bit of a rag instead of a microfiber, just because I find it's more absorbent for me here when I'm working in this. But after we do this, we're gonna end up dressing the engine bay with a microfiber towel and another dressing to go ahead and make sure we protect the plastics from any UV damage. So we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna start wiping this down and cleaning everything off. And I just say be careful around the wiring, again, so depending on how loose or intricate or unpleasant your wiring may be, just make sure that you're going over it with care. So the engine bay, for the most part, is very dry. I went ahead and I wiped it down with the microfiber towel. I did clean the inside of the glass as well, and I did go over it twice with the microfiber. So in this case here, you want to make sure that you do go into the glass and clean it with the microfiber. But now I'm going to be using Chemical Guys VRP. Again, many different solutions. I really like VRP, not only as a tire dressing, but this acts as a vinyl and rubber and plastic protectant. It's really great stuff. All I need to do is add just a little bit of it to my microfiber towel, and I'm gonna be applying this on all of my plastics. So you'll wanna make sure that you apply it evenly across all your plastics. This is gonna give it that protection. It's gonna repel dust, keep it cleaner for longer, and make it keep looking great. So I'm gonna apply this across all of the plastics on the car on the inside of the engine. The engine bay is now completely covered with the Chemical Guys VRP, and this is gonna keep that and make sure that it's protected, it's repelling dust, but that is how you properly clean your engine bay. If you guys have any questions, leave them in the comment box down below. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up and make sure you subscribe. If you haven't already subscribed, a lot more great videos to come. But this way, I'm gonna be keeping my engine bay nice and clean, and you guys should too. If you guys have any questions, leave them in the comment box down below. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you guys in the next video.